Lighting in a situation like this usually isn't too tricky. It is a very bright day, the sun is shining in from the side, and I set up a light right here. I'm gonna quickly show you. And so this works with the existing sunlight, so it looks more natural. But what if I told you it is actually not a sunny day and this is not real sunlight? Well, at least I hope you fell for the illusion. If you didn't, you should probably go watch a different channel because I failed, but if you did, keep on watching. When I started working with light, I usually took a softbox and pointed it at my subject. I avoided hard light because I was told soft light is better, and oftentimes I would end up with an image that wasn't bad, but just missing something. Today we're looking at a piece of gear that truly improved my lighting game, and I will show you 3 ways to use it. This is the spotlight attachment. This is basically a big lens that focuses your light into a powerful beam. Let's have a look at this image again. My face is lit with a softbox, but it looks not quite realistic because outside it is heavily overcast and rather dark, which does not go unnoticed in the room. So the light from the softbox looks and feels a bit unnatural. Motivated lighting is all about realism. It is lighting that mimics natural light sources like the sun or a lamp, making your scenes more believable. The goal is to create light that doesn't distract the viewer and makes them wonder, where does that light come from? Because usually in the real world, we don't have a soft lamp just lighting a single object. Daylight enters a room and lights it, and not just a single face. You might have heard the term light spaces, not faces. So how can we light spaces and not faces? Let's take a look at how bigger productions work. Many times, for bright scenes anyways, they use big, strong lights outside the room to create hard lights and lift the levels of the room. Inside, they use soft big sources to light the person, for example. That makes it seem much more natural. Of course, they use much bigger, more expensive lights and a lot of them, but that doesn't mean that we can't apply those principles on a smaller scale as well. I don't have the option to put a light outside the room, for example, here, and it would not be strong enough anyways. But here's where the spotlight attachment comes into play. We can simply set it up inside and create a hard light on the background. It changes the whole mood and scene. The light on my face suddenly becomes believable and seems more natural because it's now kind of explained and justified. It seems like the sun is shining and causing the light on my face as well. Since I've purchased the spotlight, I might have been guilty of overusing it, but the different gobos give you a lot of options and flexibility to mimic windows or light shining through a tree, for example. But even just a slash of light looks really nice. But there are a couple of things to keep in mind when working with a spotlight. First of all, you will need space. Since it works similar to a camera lens, there are different focal lengths, if you will. Those cause a wider or more narrow angle. I personally purchased the attachment with the widest angle to maximize the size of the beam and make use of it in even a bit smaller rooms. But even that requires some space to make it work. Another really important thing to consider are levels. What do I mean by that? I mean the exposure in camera, but also the brightness of the lights. If I now were to change the exposure in camera, so I put on an ND filter, and I expose it a bit darker like this, so the windows are still not clipping. And let me now raise the levels of the light right here, like so. And I'm also gonna make my fake sun a bit brighter, like this. Well, now it doesn't look real anymore because the levels in the room, the general brightness levels are just too low and it is too much contrast. It doesn't look real, and the eye generally knows what looks real because we see the world every day. So this is really important to consider. A second great way to use it is for a bounce light. Of course, you can use a powerful light, just bare bulb, and point it against a white wall. But for situations where a more controlled approach is necessary, we can use the spotlight attachment. Let's have a look at this image. The only thing I did here was shaping the light and pointing it directly at the wall next to me. The spotlight attachment shapes and controls the light so precisely it appears to be a window, and that would hardly be possible with other lights in such a tight space. And a third very cool approach to use it takes some courage, but just embrace the hard light directly. Here I use the spotlight as a key light, and it does have a unique quality to it. Of course it works well because the light is shaped into a circle in a dark room, which just creates a lot of contrast. But also here I use the spotlight from the side with a window gobo inside it, and I really like what it did to my subject to really make it pop and create a strong contrast. To wrap this up, here are some final thoughts on the spotlight attachment in general. First of all, there's no need to get the specific model from Aperture. If you have Nanlite lamps, for example, there is the Nanlite projection attachment, and there's more from other brands as well. Just be careful, you will not be able to use the Aperture spotlight attachment on a Nanlite lamp, for example, and vice versa. Those will not work as intended. I cannot remember the last time using a piece of gear that brought me so much value and did not just cost me a lot of money. So if you're looking for something to just kind of spice up your lighting game, this could be it. For me, it definitely was a game changer. As you can see, you can use it for all kinds of different scenarios. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos in the future. And I'm gonna see you in the next one, and in the meantime you should probably watch this video. Alright, bye. Why are you still here? Don't you have stuff to do?